Little Monster is the next one. This appears to be a single again. Yeah, this was the second single from the album, and it was on their previously released EP, apparently.
Much faster pace here. The reintroduction of that riff every few seconds is really neat. Yeah, I like that. Makes it hit a lot heavier. I really love this chorus. It's such a badass vibe to it. Oh, that's really cool.
Nice.
That is so nice.
I love how when I'm scrolling down the lyrics, you can see the list of things that it appears on, and of course there's the Out of the Black EP, which we mentioned before that it came on there, but there's 4 other things, man. Well, okay, one of them is the single, but still, like, featured on Now That's What I Call Rock, which is really interesting when you think about it, because this feels way heavier than something that would be on one of those very commercially appealing compilation disc type things, but at the same time, it's catchy enough to where it totally makes sense to be there, which I think is really the unique middle ground about this band's sound. The lyricism of the song itself, again, I feel like I've, at this point, described pretty well what I feel like is going on with the lyrics here, where it's always a fairly simple idea, but then they go to another level of, I guess, just like over-explaining it in a artistic sort of way, taking some artistic liberties with the descriptions of what's going on, because clearly this is about a toxic relationship of some kind where, you know, it seems like a mutually destructive kind of situation going on there, but instead of laying out the facts of what's going on, it's kind of left to the imagination, right down to the title of it being called Little Monster. Okay, so, you know, definitely leaves some things up for interpretation, which is cool, and I like that as well. Overall, though, this is such just a good track to rock out to. It's got that garage rock sound, which I guess it kind of shares in common with like AM by Arctic Monkeys and the Black Keys, so I totally see why this has been requested a lot between especially those two reactions, and it's just a really fun thing to listen to. So all the more power to it, I suppose. Loose Change is the next one. Okay, super strong bass line to start off. Interesting effect on the vocals.
Fold.
Wow.
I'm impressed with how strange this sounds. Yeah, it's really nice.
Seems to be a commentary about having a lot of money and being a part of the music industry in that way, where everything seems appealing until you have all of the money you need, and then you might even start to just get bored of having such luxuries. At least that's what I'm gathering from it. All that glitters is gold until your glitter gets sold is maybe saying that money isn't everything and that it can't necessarily buy you happiness, because you don't know what you want until you have it, and it isn't as great as you thought it would be. Also seems to be some commentary on here about how it's never enough. The richest people alive are the richest people alive because they had a huge amount of money and then just kept trying everything that they could to keep doubling it. So therefore, you know, at no point are you ever going to have enough money. And on the other hand, you have this metaphor, I guess, kind of, sort of loose change, where now there's just some spare change in your pocket and you don't care about that, but it all ends up accumulating to a larger sum. So it's kind of about the human relationship with currency, I guess. I think that there's definitely some interesting commentary going on in there, and I think that it's a pretty interesting song topic to tackle. Despite it being a debut from this band, I'm sure that they were definitely familiar with all of the brand deals and whatnot and the soundtracks they appeared in. To be able to write from the perspective of having nearly unlimited funds. Sound of that one was really cool though as well. Like I said, it sounded almost impressively weird in comparison because all of the effects made things sound somewhat underwater almost and somewhat like clouded out, but it all came together in a way where it had this certain edge to it that still came across really cool. Careless is the next one.
Definitely more of an arena rock kind of sound going on this one again. It's kind of starting to sound a lot like everything we've heard already, but definitely is still pretty fun. It's hard not to have fun with the riffs that are going on in the chorus here.
The lyricism of this track kind of seems to be calling back to a few of the earlier ones, I guess. I think it was Figure It Out, where there was almost kind of a stalkery aura to things, but this one, it just seems more like an obsession sort of narrative where our narrator has fallen for someone again by the looks of it and can't stop thinking about them, and it's like clouding what they do in their daily life and just keeps getting in the way. Our narrator here seems kind of stressed out about it and is turning to vices in the beginning verse there, and it's still this like conflicting I wish I didn't care, you did care, you don't care kind of thing going on in the chorus there. I feel like some of this is definitely falling into some rock cliches where a lot of this does sound like some pretty typical rock songs, and a lot of this also in message and in the way that it's written seems pretty typical as well. So I guess this one doesn't stand out to me particularly, but it's still a pretty fun track. Like I said, it's pretty hard not to have fun with when the instrumental is presented in the way that it was, where it just had these sudden, light, upbeat, more notes that just felt really catchy, I guess. Tonne Skeleton.
Got some big riffs too. Feel like there's some electronics in the mix there too. Doesn't sound completely raw. Really love this vocal delivery. There's a certain attitude to it. Ooh. Yeah, the vocals on this track just sound really nice.
This is interesting. Not sure what's going on here. Really fun, energetic chorus on there. Awesome just delivery of it and delivery of the vocals all throughout here. The riffs were really solid and hard-hitting, as they have been throughout most of the project in reality. Some really solid drumming on that track too, which actually just isn't something that necessarily stood out a lot, but on here it felt really crisp and punchy, and I enjoyed that quite a bit. Not a lot to dislike on that song, just a very fun one overall to turn on and listen to for sure. I'm pretty sure this one was a single as well, as like half of the album is. Obviously this was very successful, but you can definitely tell why on here. This again definitely seems like it's talking about some sort of relationship problems in the lyrics here. I mean, the most literal thing you can kind of pull from it is love has been here and gone is repeated a lot of times throughout the course of the song, and that does seem definitely indicative of what's going on in the track for sure. And the writing on here is pretty similar to a lot of the stuff that came before it, so you're bound to run into similar things, like what I've already said about the other ones. It's definitely a song that I would recommend though. Very, very solid track. Better Strangers is the next one, and the closer on here. Also the longest song on the album. Okay, wow. Drumming is so refined on here.
dry. That's why I count on you to leave me so hollow, hollow. I don't need you tonight to
Man, this is just so fun.
lost my heavy heart. It won't be replaced. Follow, follow.
Oh man, solo on here. All right, I can certainly deal with that.
There's nothing left inside. Follow, follow. 'Cause I'm 1,000 miles in danger if I make a better stranger of you.
Wow, that one was really the entire package as far as this band seems to be concerned with the sound that they presented on this album, because it had a really catchy chorus, it had some really heavy riffs, had some punchy drumming on there, and it just didn't really let up with its loud and uncompromising sound. Very stadium ready, this one right here. Good track to stomp along to. This also definitely has some lyricism that ties into the former part of the album and is just generally speaking connected in that same sort of toxic relationship mentality that at least the last few tracks have been. In this track, our narrator definitely seems to be trying to get out of this cycle of being with the person that he's with, or trying to be, or finally just letting it go, letting their differences be differences, and making a better stranger of the person that he at least once was, or it was trying to be in a relationship with. I don't think that the danger that our narrator here talks about is literal. I would tend to doubt that for sure, but I think that the danger is just more in the danger of heartache or suffering, I guess, to a degree. But I feel like none of that really needed to be explained. It's pretty stated, blatantly clear throughout the entirety of the song. Yeah, all things considered, that was a pretty fun track, and I had a lot of fun with the entire album. Like I said before, this definitely gives me some of the same vibes as AM by Arctic Monkeys. Even some of the stuff from their first two albums gives me the vibe of the Black Keys, and like a little bit of ZZ Top in there as well. As I said before, definitely the typical quintessential garage rock, as they would call it. Although this definitely seemed a lot heavier than all of those, was much grittier and darker sounding, I guess. Still has the same feeling behind it, but it definitely feels closer to metal than rock, which isn't something that I can say for any of the other ones that I listed before. But yeah, some really catchy choruses on here, some really good stuff in that variety, and just really solid stuff all over this, and I have to give it a lot of credit for that. I can totally see why this has a very dedicated fan base, because it's just some extremely likable music. So I will definitely be returning to this. I'm gonna be putting a few of these songs onto a playlist so I can just revisit it occasionally when it comes up. Definitely some stuff on here that's good in any setting, so I appreciated it for that for sure. Overall, I guess I'm feeling like an 8 out of 10 on here. So let me know what you thought of this album down in the comment section below. I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Drop a like on the video if you did like what you saw today, and subscribe to the channel for more music related content coming your way. New episode of the podcast just dropped 2 days ago. You can find that linked in the description below, as well as all the other episodes of the podcast link there. It would be very appreciated if you went and checked that out. But that is just about going to wrap it up for this one, and I will see you in the next video.